The first time we heard it, no one spoke. It wasn't just a sound, it was a presence, low and vast, trembling through the walls of the sonar station. A sound that deep shouldn't exist, not on any chart, not at any frequency we could reach. It rolled through the water like thunder trapped beneath a frozen sea. Someone turned down the gain, thinking it was feedback. But the vibration only grew stronger, like something breathing far below. That night in 1997, the ocean near Alaska felt alive. I remember the room dim yellow bulbs, maps pinned to peeling walls, coffee going cold beside a humming console. The waveform leapt across the screen, a perfect rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. We leaned closer, hypnotized as it kept pulsing, steady, deliberate. They called it the Bloop, a harmless name for something that didn't sound harmless at all. Even now, decades later, I still feel it inside my chest, that deep vibration, as if the ocean was trying to speak in for one fleeting moment. We almost understood.
Good morning, Control. This is Guard 3. All clear on the perimeter.
For weeks after that night, things went back to normal, or at least that's what we told ourselves.
Well,
Routine was
let's just say
safety.
the ship's cat
You wake
is
up
no
before
longer
dawn,
allowed in
scrape
the
frost
engine
off the window,
All
pour
clear.
instant coffee into a tin mug, and check the sonar logs for anything unusual. Every morning, the same words filled the report: all clear. The base sat on a cliff above a northern bay, quiet, forgotten, battered by wind that carried the taste of salt and metal. We had our rhythm morning drills, frozen air biting at our lungs, laughter echoing off the steel walls. Nothing about it felt mysterious then. We were just men doing a job, surrounded by a silence too wide to fear. At night, the crew gathered near the radar glow, its green light sweeping endlessly across the room. Someone would hum an old country tune, someone else shuffled cards until their fingers went numb. You could almost forget the sound we'd heard.
I knew you
Almost.
were bluffing.
I remember Davis, the youngest operator, sitting closest to the
You got
console,
lucky.
tapping his pen in a slow, steady rhythm, like a heartbeat. He said it helped him stay awake, but now I think he was trying to drown out something only he could hear. There was comfort in sameness, the hum of the machines, the wind pressing against the outer walls, the smell of oil and burnt coffee that never faded. It felt like a world sealed off from time, untouched, unchanging. Out there, the ocean looked calm, a sheet of dark glass pretending to sleep. We believed in that calm. We trusted our instruments. We trusted silence itself. But trust, I've learned, is the first thing the sea takes from you, and it never gives it back. It started again 3 nights later. A single blip, faint, distant, almost polite, as if testing whether we were listening. Davis noticed first. He leaned forward, eyes narrowing toward the wavering line on the monitor.
What's the protocol
"Did you hear
for a
that?"
ghost in
he
the
whispered,
machine?
voice barely breaking the hum of the machines. I didn't answer. We both stared at the screen as the pulse came again, slower this time, but impossibly deep. It wasn't whale song. It wasn't seismic movement. It had rhythm like breath. Davis adjusted the frequency, and the speakers released a low vibration that settled in our bones, humming through the floor and the metal tables. Someone across the room laughed nervously, muttering that it was just the ice shifting. But the ice doesn't move like that, it doesn't sound alive. Outside, the wind dropped away, as if the entire bay was holding its breath. Every gauge flatlined except one, the sonar feed, still pulsing. I remember watching the numbers rise past calibration limits, red digits flickering uncertainly. The machine didn't know how to define it. Neither did we. Then the commander walked in,
I don't know,
his calm tone stretched
but it's
thin.
getting stronger.
"Replay that sequence," he ordered. The operator hesitated, then pressed the button. For a heartbeat, there was silence, the kind that thickens the air, and then the sound came back, louder, closer, swelling like something enormous drawing breath beneath miles of water. The walls seemed to throb with it. Davis ripped off his headset, his face drained. "Sir, it's moving." The commander
What's happening
turned
to the
slowly.
system?
Direction. Davis swallowed hard. Toward us.
What have you done?
It's moving.
Intruder alert! Intruder alert! All personnel to battle stations.
The alarm hit before anyone moved. A red light burst across the control room, depth anomaly detected, strobing against the steel walls like a heartbeat. Someone shouted coordinates. Another reached for the comm line, but the signal was gone, replaced by a low, trembling hiss.
Now!
Outside, the night stretched forever, no stars, no horizon, only black water folding over itself in slow, deliberate motion, like the ocean was holding its breath. Seal the lower deck. The commander barked. Metal doors slammed shut, sealing with the heavy hiss of hydraulics. Boots pounded the grated floor as the crew scrambled into place. The sonar wailed, its pitch rising until it pierced the air like glass. Then came the other sound, a low, resonant moan that seemed to come from beneath us, so deep it made the walls vibrate like lungs filling with air. Davis dropped to his knees, clutching his headset. "It's right under us!" he shouted, voice trembling. A thunderclap rocked the hull. Bolts tore loose from the ceiling, skittering across the floor. We turned toward the screen, a single shape, massive and shapeless, gliding faster than anything the sensors had ever recorded. For a second, impossibly, it seemed to look back. "Power fluctuation!" someone screamed. The lights flickered, died, and the backup generator stuttered to life, painting the room in pulsing red. Through the chaos, we could hear the ocean pressing harder against the hull, not waves, but weight. The pressure felt alive. The commander's voice crackled through the intercom, whatever that is, it's circling the vessel. No one breathed. The sonar pinged once, twice, then something answered, a low, rhythmic pulse that wasn't mechanical, wasn't human. It hit before we heard it, deep in the chest, shaking the ribs like a second heartbeat. The monitors exploded into static. Through the noise, for half a heartbeat, I heard something, a pattern, a rhythm that almost formed words. Then everything gave way. The deck tilted violently, consoles tore free. Water burst through a vent, freezing cold, sharp with the taste of rust and salt. Davis screamed, not from pain, but recognition. "It's breathing through the hull!" The commander grabbed the valve wheel, twisting until it spun uselessly in his hands. The pressure gauge slammed into the red zone. His face, usually stone, was cracked open by fear. The sound outside swelled, a roar, a groan, a heartbeat the size of the ocean itself. And then, silence. Not peace. The kind of silence that follows when the world forgets to breathe. The lights dimmed, flickered, and died. The sonar flatlined. The ship floated in black water. For one suspended moment, in that hollow quiet, we thought it was over. But the sea was still listening. When I woke, it was quiet. No alarms, no shouting. Only the soft hum of the ship, uneven, labored, like it was breathing through broken lungs. The control room was half flooded, ankle deep in freezing water. Loose papers drifted past my feet, their ink dissolving into ghostly stains. The lights flickered weakly, reflecting off the surface in trembling ribbons of gold and red. Davis was gone. So was the commander. I remember standing there barefoot, skin numb, the metallic taste of air thick with salt and oil. Every sound seemed too sharp, the drip of water from a cracked pipe, the groan of twisted metal, the faint crackle of ice shifting above us. The sea outside pressed close, heavy and patient, as though it was listening. On the main console, I found the logbook floating upside down. The pages were torn, soaked, the ink blurred into gray veins. Only one line was still legible: 3:19 a.m., signal moving north. After that, nothing. I tried the radio, fingers trembling. It spat static, then fell silent, the kind of silence that breathes back at you. I sat beside the console, waiting for a voice, a knock, anything human. Minutes stretched like hours. Then the sonar clicked once, faintly, like a distant heartbeat. Another few minutes passed, another click. Weak, almost polite, as if the deep itself was checking if I was still listening. They say when you're trapped underwater long enough, your brain invents sounds to fill the void. But I know what I heard. Beneath that static, beneath the ship's dying hum, came one final exhale, long, low, and steady. It moved through the steel like breath through a throat. And I knew it wasn't mine. It's been 28 years since that night, and the sea still feels heavier than it should. Most of the men from the Alaska station never came back. The report said equipment failure, maybe an undersea quake, a convenient explanation for something that left no survivors, no signal, no wreck. Only fragments were ever recovered, steel plates warped inward, bolts twisted like soft wire, as if something had closed its hand around the vessel and crushed it. Sometimes I still dream of that sound. It wasn't loud, wasn't violent. It was deep, patient, endless, like breath rising from beneath the world. They called it the Bloop, a name meant to make people laugh. Because if you can laugh at something, maybe it can't terrify you. But those of us who were there knew better. It wasn't ice.
Sounds like
it wasn't
breath.
sonar feedback. It was alive. I kept one tape from that night, the only one that survived the flood. The reel is warped now, the hiss so thick it almost buries the sound, but if you listen closely, you can still hear it, that slow, rhythmic pulse, the heartbeat of something vast and waiting. Under the static. Under everything. Last year, a NOAA researcher visited. He asked to hear the tape, curious more than afraid.
I am
He
sorry
lasted
for
50
your
seconds
loss.
before stopping it. His face had gone
I am
white.
sorry for
It
your
matches no
pain.
known marine pattern, he said quietly. Then, softer, it sounds like breath slowed down 1,000 times. He tried to laugh, a scientist's defense against the unknown, but his hands shook when he gave the reel back. I don't tell this story for sympathy. I tell it because some nights, when the house creaks and the wind moves through the walls, I still feel it. That vibration crawling up from the floorboards into my spine. The same one from 1997. Maybe it wasn't a monster. Maybe it was something older. Something that remembers us the way the sea remembers every ship it's ever taken. So if you ever stand alone on the northern coast, listening to the water breathe, don't mistake silence for peace. Sometimes, silence is the ocean thinking.